Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, corn dog lovers of all ages, welcome to In the Box with your hosts, Matt and Adam.
Everybody get...
Hello! I was thinking of changing the intro music, but I like it so much.
I know.
It fits the show perfect, even though it's my band and I'm kind of doing my own thing, but I think it fits the show perfectly.
It does. It does. And every time we play it, it's always the same thing, no matter what. I mean, we're just sitting here kind of like... Yeah.
I like it. Welcome to In the Box for the first time since whenever the last time was.
Since March?
No, we had an April Fool's show. That wasn't really meant to be on April Fool's, but it was. So here's what happened. And this is going to sound like a broken record. So the week of Friday, April 1st, I got sick. We had a day where it was like 65 degrees, and then it went down to 30 and snowed. My allergies went, wee! I got put on a 3-day thing of prednisone. We went to the... go to a game? No,
Thursday was your senior or season ticket holder party, I think.
Yeah, that I didn't go to because I wasn't feeling well still.
Right.
So we did a show on Friday night, went to the game on Saturday. That was the last regular season game. I woke up Sunday feeling a complete garbage. So I had a 3-day dose of prednisone. It ran out. By Monday, I was panicking and got more prednisone on a 2-week dose. And by Tuesday, I should have gone to the ER, but I didn't because I'm stubborn like that. And by late Tuesday, I realized it was full-blown pneumonia. So secondary infection rolled around and hit me. Never had COVID, but had pneumonia. I'm still weaning off of, because they do a taper dose of prednisone where they hit you really high and they just lower it off.
Yep.
And water tastes weird. So I explained to Tara last night that water in a glass tastes dry.
Okay.
So figure that one out.
And this is why drugs are bad, kids.
But they work. But my breathing is better than it's been in a year. I mean, really. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
Well, there you go.
So
I want to apologize to everyone out there for being late, but I did come prepared. I do have a doctor's note directly from my doctor.
lift it up just a little bit, doctor. So we blame Matt.
He is a licensed doctor in the state of New York. So before you go saying I wrote that, I did not. So
Looks official to me.
yeah, you guys are lucky you have a show.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys should be lucky you even have a picture.
Exactly.
Cut the sound on this.
So wait, why are we here?
We are here to discuss. So what did we miss? So we talked about, we didn't even do playoff picks because I figured we would have a show in the next week.
One of us did. And if you go back, I went 4 for 4.
So, okay, for the record, I would have gone 3-1 because I would have made the homer pick in picking Milwaukee against my better judgment.
You would have instead of, what is it, the contrarian, it's the Bergrudian.
Oh, that's great. Did you hear that? Did you just make that up right off the top of your head?
I did, because I know Eric picked Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And soccer fans just about like short it out.
Well, and if you listen to MASL Mondays, which was on Wednesday this week, back with the original host after the long hiatus of not doing shows, because you do like 3 shows your normal lineup and then 3 with not, and then you're back to 1. They said it was probably a nod back to Eric's playing days. So all the Wave fans remember when Eric played on the Milwaukee Wave in 1643 or whatever year it was, when that Midnight Express Chase song came out. Now would be a great time for a timeout.
You need a timeout. I'm good. I'm probably on Eric's good side after the new coining of the phrase Bergrudian.
Bergrudian, he said yes in all caps.
Yeah, see? And goalkeeping.
Flight, challenge everything.
Even if you don't have any challenges.
You don't have any challenges. VAR, challenge everything.
Challenge it. And if you don't have any of that, well, you're screwed.
In the box, challenge everything.
Challenge everything. In the box, challenge. Oh, piece of cake.
Right. Ooh, cake. I'm prepared. MASL's new sponsor, Chill. Challenge everything.
That's just the slogan for everything. Capelli.
Challenge everything. I like it. We're gonna use it from now on.
I mean, it makes it easier for like Nick and Eric. I mean, they don't have to like read off a thing.
Brian Miller, challenge everything.
Challenge everything. Brian Martin
challenge everything.
Miller lady.
So I have a funny Brian Miller story, and this is gonna lead into one of my rant. Well, maybe this will be my rant. One thing we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it probably after the playoffs, is we're gonna do like a year in review show, and we're going to challenge everything and take things in the league that are like fan facing, like us, from our side. Maybe a little bit more fan facing than your average fan, maybe less, depending on how you look at it. We're going to go through and say we're going to challenge everything that the league said that they were going to increase everything by 25% and make it better, and we're going to see if they passed or failed. And we'll get into a lot of topics. And one of the things is going to be refereeing. And I thought of something when I watched the, I don't know what game it was anymore because I have no concept of time, even worse than I did. Who was the referee for the San Diego game in Milwaukee? Was that Miller?
I have no idea.
There's a site that can show me this somewhere. In there?
I unfortunately did not watch that game.
Yes. So it was Trimble and Brian Miller, and I would like the league to make a note of that game, and let's try and make the games not about the officials. I saw something I've never ever seen in my entire life at that game. So you know how a guy's about to take a free kick, another guy fronts the ball, the guy kicks into his legs, and the ref goes like this. Can't see it because it's cut off, and that's an encroachment warning. Well, Brian Miller places the ball down. LSO goes to kick it, and Brian Miller gives the guy who kicks the ball an encroachment warning because Brian Miller didn't like where the ball was placed, and he got up, he picked the ball up, moved it 2 feet over, and then pointed down at it and had a fit about it. So at one point, and here's where the funny story, here's where the funny story starts. At one point, he was sitting right, and you saw where we sat. Well, we were one row over. We were in our regular seats finally. We were about 10 rows behind where the boards are. And Brian Miller's right there, and he was playing some kind of weird song. Maybe that Chase song that Eric loves so much. And I yelled, "Brian Miller, you suck!" And like all sorts of people turned around and looked. And I know he heard me. And then I was like, Grabbed my phone, I went and I checked and made sure it was really Brian Miller and not Brian Martin who was refereeing that game. So,
I thought you were going to say like he gave you a blue card or something.
No, Kelsey gave out blue cards and now they're all over the place. It started like 3 games ago and a bunch of people, like we were sitting behind Sarah Bastian's son, Jackson. And one of the first things, and this was at the Dallas game, and he holds up his hands, and Kelsey give me a card, so I was just like, here, and it's pretty big. It's, so then he holds it up, all the front rows holding it up, and then like the next week, more cards are coming up, and the next week, more cards. So that got to be a thing, but I want to see the refs stopping the game about themselves. Like, it's okay if the guy takes a free kick and it's 6 inches off to where you would have put the ball. You don't have to grab the ball and slam it down like you're trying to make a point, because no one cares. No one's here to watch you. Get the game going, get it on, move on. And then you won't have fans yelling at you that you suck. I mean, you will, but I won't. Well, I might. I usually don't yell like that.
Adam Granatella, challenge everything.
Challenge everything, except for where the ball is supposed to be placed. Just put it down and kick it.
They're just leaving it in the same fucking place.
Just leave it.
Oh, I swore! Dang it! Now we need the expletive warning, and oh god.
Wait, I think I have the. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my rant about that. So playoff round 1.
Interesting. I mean, quite the series of games.
We had 2 that I think went about how everyone expected them to go, and then we had the other 2 that went about exactly how everyone expected them to go.
I missed one series. I predicted the winner. I just didn't predict. I thought it was going to be Florida in 3.
Oh, yeah, I think I said that too.
Florida in 2.5 or 2 and a quarter. 2 and a quarter. Didn't expect that. I knew Baltimore Chihuahua was going to go to a mini game. I knew Kansas City Dallas was going to go to a mini game. I expected the home teams to win the first and second games.
You know what happened in Chihuahua, right?
No.
Mini game.
So we had minigame in Chihuahua. And
which is not to be confused with
Overtime.
It
Right.
is a
Mini game.
right.
and we're going to get into this in a little bit with our special segment. And here's a little preview of.
Yay.
The league has changed the league has gotten rid of the minigame. So early on in the season, I was told from somebody in the league that, oh yeah, we're doing away with the minigame. And I'm like, oh, cool. Because the minigame is...
You know, hang on a second. You should just stop saying the word minigame and just click the button and have them say minigame.
Every time?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can I don't know if I can keep up with that.
All right.
Because I think our goal for this show is to say the words
Mini game.
as many times as possible.
Right.
So league said we're doing away with the minigame. I'm like, well, what? Okay, what does that mean? Oh, we don't know yet. It's going to be doing away. So how they did away with the minigame, they renamed it to Extra Time. Extra Time doesn't have the oomph of
Mini game.
just doesn't have the sound, the sound of it. They wanted to get rid of mini game because it makes it sound less professional. So there was a knockout game. Craig Elston in San Diego was calling it a knockout game a couple of weeks back. And then when the playoffs came, nope, it's the extra time game or extra time or no, we're calling it the mini game. We're not changing. We're not going to change. It's the mini game forever.
Yep.
Bushwhackers here talking about the mini bushwhacker. That's not a topic we're going to cover on this show.
Yeah, it's going to be before 11 o'clock. So after 11 o'clock, I'm sure it would be discussed, but we're not going to discuss that at this time. Kids are still
in the
awake.
box after dark. Challenge everything. I like it. I like this. Yeah, we got something good going on here.
Oh Lord.
And Eric still wants to know how a bushwhacker types in that costume. Jack says the bloodbath or the death match are his preferences. See,
I mean, really, Eric is an expert in mascot wearing. So I mean, did he have goalie gloves on, or did he? I think he might have. So he might have. It might have just been the corn dog suit, and he had could use his hands or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Kevin said, death to the minigame, player 3 or go one and done. NFL rules stop the unfair minigame. So here's how the minigame got invented. And you can go back and look at all the attendances for the playoff games, and they were terrible. There were 1,000 less than what the league already was down to, which is already 1,000 less than what it was down to, what was at before COVID. You can't sell tickets in 3 days. And when you got the top team in the league in attendance playing on a Thursday night, you're going to get 1,800, and that's going to be a decent crowd. You get San Diego playing on a Sunday night, you get 1,500, and that's a decent crowd for playoffs. But you do 3 games like that, then people will be like, oh, well, they play Thursday, and then they play Friday, and then they play Sunday. I'll just come to the Sunday game. No one's going to go to every game, and it's not the same type of allure. And I know people have recommended, play on a neutral site. Well, that's even worse, because then the fans who really want to go can't go.
Well, so we found out an interesting statistic over the weekend. What was it? San Diego paid how much for their flights and everything?
San Diego paid $24,000 to fly their players and staff out to Milwaukee.
I mean, that right there is crazy in itself. And I'm kind of in we should play the semifinals and finals in a neutral arena.
If you could do it where you announce it at the beginning of the season where they're going to be, I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah, M2 did that, didn't they? Didn't M2 say they were going to have their semifinals and finals in Muskegon?
I don't know. Yes, they did, but I don't know if that was before the season started or not.
Right. But I mean, it would be nice to have at least that part of it set up.
Yeah, I mean, let
everything else be a week, 2 weeks before. Have some sort of here's the date of the finals. Yeah. And here's where it's going to be.
Well, and you can announce it 3-4 years out. Maybe you can, assuming the teams are still going to be around 3 to 4 years out.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it would cut costs and stuff like that, but I just think, and now San Diego has to fly to Chihuahua, Florida has to fly to Kansas City has to fly to Florida, so on and so forth. So it's are they really I'm sure Kansas City is making money off of ticket sales and taking the airline costs out. I don't know about San Diego or Florida.
Right. St. Louis was not great. I mean, they were all right around the same thing. 1,500 to 1,800 was the max. Chihuahua reported 1,750. Their stadium was packed. That was a crazy atmosphere. We'll get into that in a little bit too. But since you mentioned the M2, I wanted to talk about them. M2 finished. Congratulations to the San Diego Sockers 2 for beating the Cleveland Crunch in the finals.
Which, if you go back, I also called that.
Oh yeah.
I was on a picking roll last week.
Yeah, you were. Maybe you should just do that without me from now on. What was funny to me? So there were a couple things that were funny, not funny, but interesting. When Turlock has some salty fans. Not that every other team doesn't, but Turlock, you put us against any team in the league and we can beat anyone, and this is nonsense, and we have to move down to M2. Turlock finished tied for 11th place out of 12, or 12th place out of 13 teams. How many teams are there? Yeah, 13. They went 2-10. And 2-4 at home, because they also said 2-4 at home, 0-6 on the road. They were the ones that said we can beat anybody in our arena, and then they just laid that egg. So I think the move down to M2 is good for Turlock, and I think they need some work if they want to ever move up again. So I'm glad that happened. Cleveland Crunch was interesting to me because there's a lot of talk that's been going on in the last week. If you've seen groups and things around about, when are we going to move up? We got to move up. We got to do this. They're having arena problems big time. And I'm one of the things I think the league is improved on that probably won't show up in our thing whenever we do it was standards of bringing teams into the league. Turlock was always grandfather in the league for years, but they actually stepped up and said, you guys need to go down. And Cleveland, you guys don't have an arena. You can't move up just based on the fact that you're a really good team. That we're not going to allow that. So it doesn't matter what talent level you have. The arena is really important. Problem is, I made a prediction when we had the Cleveland guys on a year and a half ago or whatever it was, that they pretty much have a free year based on name recognition alone. But after that, they really have to start selling. And if they're not in a real arena and they don't have a real fan base, they're going to have problems coming in the next couple of years. That's all I know about M2. Right there in 30 seconds.
Oh, Mike Vollmer, watcher of In the Box, announced his retirement from indoor soccer.
That's too bad.
I'm not going to mention where he's from because it's an ongoing joke between myself and him.
Cleveland, right?
You said it, not me.
Mike's a good guy. Mike had so I mean, I've met Mike in person. Were you there on the field when we met him, or was that the week? Yeah.
Yeah, we were there. It was me, you, Zimmerman, Coach Jules.
He makes you look short.
Yeah.
And he played goalie. So in the year where we had 4 goalkeepers or 5, I think he was the 4th or 3rd or 4th could come in and help. He played probably the last half of the 4th quarter of a game and was just enormous. Like, he got in the field, he put his arms out, and they both touched the corners of the goals just like this. I'm like, holy crap. But yeah, Mike's a good guy. Congratulations or condolences on retirement, however you want to look at it. Hope you still can find a way to play and coach and have fun and enjoy the game.
Yeah, I think he mentioned something about beach soccer is still a viable option. So
a lot of beaches in Cleveland.
There are a lot right next to the lake.
Right next to the lake, yeah, definitely. So M2, challenge everything.
Challenge everything. That's right.
Except for where you're going to play in arena.
Right.
And Manny from Omaha reached out to us, wants to get on the show one of these days, so we'll have to do that at some point.
Right.
Told why. Temperature control my room.
So yeah, playoffs. I mean,
yeah.
What an interesting. I mean, last night was it last? No, it was Tuesday night. Nothing really happened Tuesday night. I mean, there was like a game and a couple goals were scored, and
there was
Eric and Nick talked about a few things.
You know what else there was Tuesday?
Mini game.
There was a mini game.
There was a mini game. Tuesday night there was probably the best goal I've ever seen scored in indoor soccer. Benji's half showboat, half I'm leaning the wrong way, half I'm gonna fool the goalkeeper, half I hope this really goes in so I don't look like a fool goal. Played to absolute perfection. Just wow.
I had no idea what actually happened until the replay. And then I looked at it, I'm like, oh.
I had a feeling of what he did, but I didn't realize. I mean, what is that, like a flying reverse Rabona thing?
You could probably, let's just throw Eric's name or like Nick's name, because we did the Bergrudian thing. That's probably like the Flying Vassos or something.
The Flying Vassos. I was going to say the Flying Benji, but the Flying Vassos has a much better. The Flying Vassos based off the Flying Vassos brothers, who were big in the aerial trapeze
That's right.
world.
They were part of Wrigley Barnum and Bailey Circus. Like the Vassos was on the end of that.
Yeah. So Alec asks
Barnum, Bailey, and Vassos.
And Vassos, attorneys at law and
attorneys at law.
Goal scorers. So Alex says, along the lines of the arena standards, do you think the Heat should be in the M2? I'd miss playing them, but their arena is far from superb. Yeah, I mean, in that arena, yes.
I'm gonna disagree and say no. I'm going to direct you to the attendance numbers on the MASL website. I think they outdid San Diego.
Well, and we're gonna talk about that in our year end thing, but the sad thing is that the 3 of the top 4 teams are bottom 4 in attendance for the year.
I think Farm Show needs a makeover. I think they need new turf. I think that's the big thing. I think something like that.
But Willie B said he loved the turf. Yeah.
Tim Goldman. So shout out to Keeper's Corner podcast, who, if you haven't looked, did an interview with Tim Goldman from Utica City, and they talked about Harrisburg's turf, and Tim loves it because he scored a hat trick towards the end of the season. So he's like, I don't know what it is about Farm Show, but I love it.
When we had the Utica guys on, Nate Bordeaux said he actually likes the turf. I don't know.
I don't know, but I think Harrisburg's going in the right direction. It's just it's not appealing as of right now, but I mean maybe a little turf upgrade, maybe I don't know. The fans are closer, which is great.
So if you're spending $80,000 to $100,000 on turf, would you do it knowing it was going to be rolled up in dirt every time you were done with it? I mean that it almost seems to me like they're in a situation where, like, well, why would I mean, like you win one of those, like, we'll renovate your house and spend $25,000 on your house, but you really don't like your house, so you wouldn't want to spend that money on your house.
How well? Let's go back to what Jay Miller was talking about, MJSL, talking about relocating Harrisburg. How far is it from Harrisburg to Hershey, Pennsylvania?
On a map about like that.
Oh, then that's not far. So Hershey has an AHL franchise. So why not? I think that would be a wise decision for the Heat.
It is 22 minutes from Hershey to Harrisburg. So it is. So here.
Well, I trust you.
It's that far.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, from Syracuse to Utica was 40 miles, which is about a half hour. So the move from Harrisburg to Hershey, it doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah, that doesn't, and that's, I mean, San Diego fans a surprise in a year and a half when you guys move 100 miles up the coast, or not 100, but whatever the trip to Oceanside is.
Remember we had we played I Would Walk 500 miles.
So yeah, that's a good thing.
So speaking of Pennsylvania, what is the weather in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania?
That's a good question. We should put that into our show. Forecast. It is slow. It's 49.
I would imagine it's about 50, yeah.
49 degrees, wind west-southwest, 3 miles an hour. Air quality is fair. Wind gusts are up to 7 miles an hour, so be careful out there, kids. It can get pretty windy. Today in Wisconsin, we had bright sunshine, a high of about 45, and wind gusts up to about 60. So there's that.
Here in sunny, well, it was sunny, Oswego, New York, it was humid. It was about a humid 70 degrees this morning. And when I left work, it was a balmy 50 degrees.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
So Alex said something. Benji's goal is yet another reason for quality broadcast. When a player makes a great play, you want it to look good on SportsCenter. Absolutely. 100 million %.
I tried getting a play on the top 10 years ago with Syracuse when Brian O'Quinn made the famous O'Quintuple save against Kansas
pretty
City.
Cool, yeah.
I tried getting that on SportsCenter. That would have been a good one. I mean, the quality was pretty good of that. Instead, it made Japanese television, but close.
I do remember that. Andre Haynes' big goal in St. Louis had their really grainy broadcast and the distorted audio and the whole thing, but that still made it. But that just gives them, reason to joke about it.
Yeah. At least they had a picture.
So the other thing that happened before we get into stuff, before the playoffs started, guess who missed another game?
No, I didn't. No, I was at all of them.
Yeah, me too. No, I wasn't. I wasn't at one of the Milwaukee games because, Baltimore.
Yep. All right, so yeah, Adam missed a game.
Baltimore missed 25% of their road games, which doesn't seem like it seems like a bigger number when you say 25% of their road games, 12.5% of their entire season. They got off not paying travel on 3 games. They put themselves in a position where they didn't have not a warm-up game, but they didn't have a playoff-ready game before the end of the season. Do we think that made them lose? Do you think that contributed to their loss at all, or do you think it didn't matter? Just save them some money.
I think, I mean, we saw William Vanzella do William Vanzella playoff things, and I mean the what's the third game called again? I forget.
The
mini game.
Yes, I think Chihuahua, with their home field advantage, they took over and steamrolled them. 5-1.
Let's talk Eric's favorite subject for a second: goalkeeping, not the Chase song.
It's National Goalkeeper Day. Did you know that?
It is National Goalkeeper Day, so happy Goalkeeper Day to all of our wave goalkeepers, going back to Forberg, Feenstra, Jeff
It's
Ritchie.
so weird. Marcel Feenstra is like...
Marcel Feenstra is my superstar.
He is like in the Facebook group, just
trolling away,
going crazy. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, Cliff.
Mini game.
That should be 30. All of the goalkeepers, Josh Lemos, Rafa Diaz, Matt Icehold. Who am I missing? Mike Volmer. I'm trying just for the wave now. Matt Perella, Joey Capinos, Augie Ray, Tony Gonzalez. Who did I miss from the wave since we started watching?
Well, are you counting 6 attackers as goalies?
Victor Quiros, Chino. No, we can't. We can't do that. But then, seriously, all the goalkeepers are on. There are Willie B, huge fan of the show. Eric Bergerud. No, yeah, we got to give it to him. Eric Bergerud, back from his playing days in Milwaukee, as everyone knows. Yeah. I don't want to miss anyone, and I should have stopped naming stuff. But Coughlin,
I played goalkeeper in my co-ed league.
I did too, and I'm not going to say happy goalkeeper day to me because I got more injured than I played games in that.
Well, I could say it to you.
No, don't.
Okay.
Don't shame the rest of the goalkeepers. But seriously, every goalkeeper in the league. And I want to talk about 2 very specifically. Boris Pardo, like, fuck you, man. Holy crap. I thought, and I mean, this is not going to...
Language warning.
Yeah, right. It's going to seem like an insult here. It is absolutely not. That was some of the best goalkeeping I have ever seen in my life. Both games here in Milwaukee and in San Diego. And then Vanzella. At one point in the game in Chihuahua, the shots were 38-8 Chihuahua to Baltimore, and it was a 1-goal game still.
Yeah, it was ended up being 44-13 or something like that, one of the games.
These 2 guys, I know William, I know he had a tough year being hurt and being out a number of games and everything, but holy crap. The bar it's not even raised. I don't even know there's a bar.
And I know you'll agree with me. I haven't seen William Vanzella move like that since the All-Star game in Kansas City.
Yeah?
Or the day before the All-Star game.
The day before the All-Star game in Kansas City, where that might have happened a couple times.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, you gotta look at the other side. I mean, Bernie Valdivinos. I mean, not once, but twice shutting down Baltimore in the second game, and then the third game.
I need a new soundbite. I need Eric saying goalkeeping, because it really is. It's been it. I
mean, Juan Gamboa. You can talk about Juan Gamboa.
I had a little chat with Juan. Yeah, I had a chat with Juan at the bar after the game when they were up here, and great guy. And he was standing on his head all season too. We called him out. You and Gio and I were like, we think they need a goalkeeping change. That'll be what changed it. That wasn't it. That was not the problem. Nope. Juan, we take everything we said back.
Yep.
But yeah, that was it was humbling to watch that the Sockers play.
Yeah, and it's interesting going into the semifinals. I won't say difference in the level of goalkeeping, but you've got on one side Boris Pardo versus Berna Valdivinos,
and the other side you don't.
Yeah, you've got Neto versus Heiner House, Jorge Navarrete, the Instagram guy that never got to play.
And Brett Petracek, who vanished off the face of the earth again.
Yeah, so
maybe Brett and Gordy are forming a team. So.
Yeah, so I think when we do our predictions, I think you'll see where it's gonna go.
We're gonna, you know what we're gonna do in the predictions? Challenge everything.
We're absolutely in the box playoff predictions. Challenge everything.
Another thing, while we're ripping on Baltimore here for a second, so in the regular season, Ontario sent an English broadcasting team of our good friends Philly and Jonathan down to Chihuahua to do an English broadcast for both games. Craig Elston and I think Jerry Jimenez are going down to Chihuahua to do the playoff game. And Blarst fans complained that there was no English broadcast for the Chihuahua game when the Blarst went to Chihuahua. And I said, hold on, there's someone at the door. Hello? Sorry. I should shut my phone off before these things. But I don't. Let's go through. Let's do phone time with Adam.
All right.
Ooh, Quick Trip.
We do that.
Quick Trip rewards are due. In the Box went live. Somebody's at the front door. That's your phone update. I mean, we're doing weather in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania. We might as well do a phone update with Adam.
Good cake.
I haven't touched mine yet, but I'm getting there.
Well, you were doing your phone thing, so I figured I'd just take a bite of tea.
Yeah, it's a good timing. So Baltimore doesn't send anyone down to Chihuahua. Fans complain that
not even a simulcast. Not even like
no simulcast don't work.
I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago, or maybe you and I talked about it on the phone, where Craig Elston and Nate Aberea did a simulcast of the Baltimore Monterey in English.
Problem is when they do things like review a play for 5 minutes, literally 5 on the clock real, like not game clock, but 5 real minutes for a 90-second replay, and no one has any idea what they're replaying or what they're looking at or what's going on. We could do without that.
Ooh, what if we had someone like at the game and they like draw what's going on, or like draw like what happened or something like that?
It could be Pictionary, where they have to draw and then other people have to guess what's going on.
Yes.
So how do you draw the Benji goal to explain that to someone?
A big flipping question mark.
Yeah, right. What did I just witness? And that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And also, I witnessed
the flying Vassos.
The flying Vassos, I like it. Yeah, that's what it's gonna be called. Flying Vassos.
Eric, feel free to use that during your broadcast on Saturday.
Yeah. Just make the refs announce it like they do in NFL, and how MLB is doing the same thing. Yeah, but if they're talking about it in Spanish and we don't understand Spanish, other than
mini game,
we don't really know, what.
I mean, yeah, our Spanish is quite limited. I mean, overtime and Craig Chili's and mini game and Michael Jordan, I believe I can fly. That's about it.
Michael Jordan lo hizo. I believe I can fly.
What was the Luiso? What is it? I don't understand what that is.
I don't know.
Random word?
Yes.
Okay. I need to go on a rant about the Baltimore broadcast. These guys need to be fired immediately. So here's what happened. At some point, and this is the first playoff game, at some point in the play, either the refs figured it out or one of the players pointed out that Valdivinos was not wearing any shin guards. First of all, what? A goalkeeper not wearing any shin guards? Like, kudos to you, but you're crazy, man. Immediately, and I'm gonna call him out by name because I don't like him. Andrew Primrose starts just whining and crying and having a fit. He doesn't have any shin guards on. He doesn't have any shin guards. That's a penalty. That should be a card. That has to be a penalty. That's a card. That's a penalty. And it's like, dude, settle down. It's not a penalty. It's not even a card. You're not going to give a blue card to someone for not wearing shin guards. So what was figured out is that he needs to replace his any faulty equipment or whatever. Like if a glove falls off or the guy's bleeding or whatever, they have to come off the field and they have to be substituted out. Well, first they were like freaking out because they didn't think he was going to be substituted. Then the backup goalkeeper came on. Now the Blast are wearing their whatever red jerseys. Chihuahua's wearing their like white with gold in the front. And the backup goalkeeper comes out in a gray like warm-up t-shirt. And he freaks out. He goes, he doesn't have a number on. He doesn't have a jersey. He's not even wearing a jersey. That's a card. They should forfeit. And it's like, dude, this isn't like middle school kickball where he crosses the line and you guys argue about it for 45 minutes. So eventually what happened is 30 seconds later when the ball was whistled dead, they switched goalkeepers. Valdivino says shin guards on. He's back on the field. They talked about it the entire half. They came back after halftime and then quoted the rule. And these guys seriously thought there should have been a penalty. So no more whining, no more crying. You guys don't even know the basic rules of the game you're announcing. You're talking about like 3-line penalties on a pass back and this and that, and just everything's a complaint, whether it should be a foul or not a foul or whatever. The best thing to happen to me that Friday night was when it was tied 3-3. My internet went out and I wasn't able to watch the rest of the game. Highlight of my weekend at that point. All right. Is it time?
Do we do predictions or paper plate awards?
Why
Why we do predictions? Why don't we just get that out of the way now?
So we do everything before the paper plate awards, and then we'll finish with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I have more stuff.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk VAR. What do you think about video replay?
Well, I think one isn't enough. I think 2 challenges, and if you get both challenges correct, you can have a third one, just like in the NFL. I don't think, and I think there should be a time limit as to how long each challenge takes. I don't think it's going to, and I saw a comment saying no VAR, it should be in the fastest sport in the league, blah, blah, blah. Games are already super fast. What's 1 minute or 2 minutes gonna do?
Or 5 in Chihuahua's case.
Or 5. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you want to make sure a call is correct, a minute or 2 is perfectly fine. Case in point, I mean, go back to the St. Louis, Florida game, game 2. St. Louis used their challenge literally like 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
Their challenge was denied. Therefore, they didn't have any other challenges the rest of the game. Now, I understand their strategy behind it, but I think 2 challenges with a third if both calls were the
correct.
Do
you think it should be only challenge flags, or do you think the refs should be allowed to go to the challenges on their own decisions?
I think on major penalties. I mean, like a slide tackle in, if it wasn't called, okay, or contact above the head.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. So I think plays like that. I think goal, no goal will be challenged by coaches.
So I used to watch a lot of hockey in the mid to late 90s. And one thing that ruined the game was every goal was reviewed. And if there was a little bit of a skate touching the crease at all, was no goal.
Yep.
So I don't want every goal reviewed. I don't want to go back to where we were in the MPS days where every 3-line goal had to be reviewed, because then you couldn't tell if it was over the line or not. I like the idea of one challenge, and if you get it right, you get one more. I don't know if 2 and 3, because what happens, especially towards the end of the game, before we go into the
mini game,
any little thing that could sway one thing or another, they're going to challenge just because. And then they're going to have to dig out the cameras and go through and figure it out and then do that. And then coaches are going to get all mad. They're going to freak out and they're going to yell like in Chihuahua. That was a complete mess down there. 39 seconds left in the 4th game, right before the
mini game.
They challenged, and it was 5 minutes of real time before they figured out whatever it was. And then because I don't understand Spanish, I have no idea what even happened. That was interesting. What I really thought was interesting too was the challenge on the Dallas goal. Was that in the
mini game?
Or
I think so.
Before the
mini game?
I think it was during the mini game. I think I read something. It was possible game tying goal for Dallas.
Yeah, that you're right. Okay, now it was in that little bitty tiny game. Extra mini game. Mini extra game?
The Baltimore.
Lars game?
We could just call it the Baltimore.
The Baltimore. Eric says we call it extra time. Well, aren't you special? Apparently the league is instructing people to not call it the
mini game
anymore, and instead call it the extra time. We here at In the Box, we challenge everything. So we're not going to change it. We're going to call it the mini game until we can't say the word anymore because we've forgotten completely how to say it.
Oh, wait, this just in. Commissioner Keith Tozer has fined In the Box $100 for. It reminds me of no, he really didn't. It reminds me of like Demolition Man, where Sylvester Stallone always swears and he gets like the demerits and stuff. Every time you say the word mini game, he gets like the merit thing.
Hopefully Cliff has been able to keep count. We're up to 38 before that barrage.
Cliff, the great thing about YouTube is you can just hit back, double tap your thing, and it'll go back 10 seconds. So
you can do that on Twitch.
You can't do that on Twitch.
Oh wait, yeah, no, you can't. Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. Some of the challenges were the one in KC against Dallas was the most interesting to me of the whole thing, because what happened was way like at the bench. So I mean, almost midfield, the ball hit up and hit. It was either Jamie Lovegrove or Cody Ellis's. It was somebody with a bun thing on their head. I think it was Cody Ellis's. Hit his hand, and he had his hands resting over the boards. And by rule, if it hits a hand, like if you stick your hand out in the middle of the thing and the ball hits it, that's considered out of bounds right there. So I thought that was really interesting, and that called back the goal. And the goal happened 10 seconds later, or 20 for you, because your delay for your Twitch feed.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on my buffering. Sometimes it's I'm 10 seconds behind. Sometimes I'm like 30 seconds behind. But
yeah, I thought that was an interesting challenge. But did they challenge it because someone actually saw that, or did they challenge it because because it was a KC
because
challenge?
It was there.
It was a KC challenge. It wasn't a Dallas challenge. So did they challenge it because the goal went in? Or did they challenge it because someone legitimately saw the ball hit his hand and it should have been out of bounds? Oh, so Eric says yes, a player saw it. Okay, so that...
Yeah, I would imagine a player saw it and was like, okay, let's challenge it. And Stephen Stokich was like, okay.
So Leanne says, you have been fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal mortality statute by calling a minigame.
John Spartan, you are hereby given 1 demerit.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We always do. Yeah, demerit. Yeah. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting, and it tells us, please keep your hands and arms inside the ride at all times, kids. Be careful.
And keep hands, feet, and other objects to yourself.
Years ago, I used to wonder why, like, if the ball got punted down on a breakaway or whatever, the guys on the bench would actually reach over and try to grab it. I'm like, are they just screwing around? No, because it'll be out of bounds and it'll blow the play dead if they touch it.
While I was cheering for Utica, the last few games, I would put my hand over the boards and like knock on the boards, hoping for a ball to come and touch it. And
then That they came up with a new game protocol rules violation for you.
It didn't affect play at all. So.
You still violated the rules. You will hereby be fined 1 demerit for verbal mortality statute.
But it wasn't verbal. It was.
Oh, morality. Probably not a mortality statute. It's probably more morality.
It was definitely not a mortality statute. No.
If you heard MASL Primetime this week, JP said it's going to be up to the owners whether they want to use it during the regular season next. So this will be something the owners will have to vote on and agree on and to use it. I hope they do. I think just using it in the playoffs is kind of ridiculous. I think it should be, everyone should get the opportunity to use it. Even you, Harrisburg. I mean, the first year they did it, Scotty Fellows was it. So he used to run the scoreboard in Milwaukee. They had to use his cell phone because they couldn't get the laptop working to watch the feed. So they brought his cell phone up, and the 4 refs huddled over Scotty's cell phone trying to figure out the replay angles.
So an interesting thing, and I know you love Florida broadcasts, and I told you about this. I don't know if you went back to look at it, but the challenge St. Louis had, they actually showed, they had like 8 things up. It was like camera 1, camera 2, goal cam 1, goal cam 2, and a bunch of other screens that didn't make any sense. And they were like showing the play, rewinding, showing the play. It was like interesting.
Yeah. What was interesting is San Diego is trying to do a replay, and I don't know if their guy had like a Xbox controller and he was like playing Mortal Kombat games on it or whatever. Because isn't that how you play those? It's
a lot of button mashing.
They had some replay issues on Sunday night. That was interesting. Something I've never seen from them before.
It sounds like they had a lot of issues in San Diego.
Well, the reason the San Diego Soccer's defense, the offense. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, watch the first couple of minutes of the San Diego broadcast, and we'll just leave it at that. All right. One more thing. Goalkeeper rule. Since we were done with the regular season, how has the goalkeeper rule affected the overall goals per game? Last year, the league was at 11.19 goals per game. That was in the shortened season with much fewer teams. Much fewer. The year before was 2019-2020 was 12.77 goals per game. So that was pretty much the last regular real season. 2019 was 12.36 goals per game, which was the first year of the new goalkeeper midfield nonsense that nobody likes, and nobody did like, and nobody has liked it. 21-22 through 141 regular season games, you'll notice it wasn't 144. There were 12.47 goals scored per game. If you take out, so Chihuahua obviously had a little bit higher scoring than the rest of the league, including a 21 goal one-sided game. But if you take out Chihuahua, it's only 12.22 goals per game. So while they can claim they were up over last season, they were not up over the last regular full season. They were about a half goal behind.
So I'm going to go back to this. I mean, so you go back a couple of years. Solis de Sonora was in the league. And, I mean, you could pretty much replace them and Chihuahua. I mean, it's pretty much interchangeable short field. I mean, there was a 15-14 Solis Utica game.
Yep.
That happened. So, I mean, goalkeeper rule in the grand scheme of things really didn't change the offense that much.
But you're going to hear people in charge say that the goals per game went up because they're going to compare it to last year and last year only. And they went up over a goal per game last year, which I think is significant. 0.3 goals over 2 years ago, I don't think is very significant. or
No,
point
I don't
three
think
goals
so either.
down. I don't think there's a big enough sample size to say if it changed it one way or another, but it definitely didn't increase.
And I will say this for going forward to next year, I think you'll see I think you're going to see goals going up. I think you're going to see teams now have a year under their belt of this rule if they keep it. We don't even know if they're going to keep the rule. They might change it. Who knows?
For the sake of just keeping things stable, just keep the damn rule.
Keep it. Yeah. So if they keep it, I mean, you've got all of these teams that have a year under their belt, and I think you're going to see more teams kind of strategize around that. And I think you saw that towards the end of the season as well.
Yeah. One thing I found interesting, somebody asked me why the sixth attacker is way up there. Because of the goalkeeper rule, once the sixth attacker touches the ball, he can't touch it again going back behind midfield. In fact, if you look at the
Mini game.
Sorry, it was right before the
Mini game.
in Chihuahua. Donatelli, my long lost brother, went at sixth attacker and got bit by the goalkeeper rule before he hit midfield. Because he passed it out, somebody passed it back to him, he touched it this far or so from the midfield stripe, and they called him on it. What's happening now is, even though the sixth attacker can use his hands, he's not the one staying back. He's mostly playing like a right or left point, and another player's playing back. So that's just an adjustment I noticed, kind of based on necessity, based on the way the goalkeeper rule changes. I'd be perfectly fine with them saying in a sixth attacker situation, the goalkeeper rule doesn't apply. Because I don't think anyone's going to go sixth attacker to play keep away. They're going to go sixth attacker to play offense and to attack.
I would hope not.
Because otherwise, it's just one more thing they have to watch out for, and they can't step over the line, and now there's this magical boundary, and just whatever. But that's it. We're at 54, by the way. I was hoping for 50. So you guys watching Practical Jokers, it's one of those like, hey, you can't stop saying minigame enough.
Mini game.
I'm glad.
It is true.
Now, the cool thing about this is because Matt pushed the show off a half an hour, I was able to find that and add that to the show. I wouldn't have had that otherwise. So thank you very much.
You're welcome, chat.
All right. The only two things I have left are picks and paper plate awards.
Ooh, picks. Yay.
And, of course, the end segment, which is the most important thing.
So with it being playoffs, do we get the 30-second timer or?
Nah, timer's overrated.
All right.
We can do this one. That's almost 30 seconds, depending on what you're trying to look for on the MASL website.
If you left it up, I was pretending to buffer.
Are you buffering?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Yeah, don't do that. So, first round is Florida versus Kansas City.
Oh, first, you mean semifinals?
Well, yeah, and teams are using the words round in games and legs and.
All right. So semifinals, KC, Florida.
So the games are weird because to try to avoid having games on Easter, there's two games kind of this weekend, one Saturday, one Monday, and then the other two games are Saturday and Sunday of the following week. So next week we won't have any results to talk about other than what's going to happen in the second game, which will kind of be cool.
Yeah. I mean, we can analyze the first games.
Oh yeah.
And give the losing teams keys to victory.
And who's going to go to
in the second game and the
mini game?
Right.
There you go. All right, so yeah, why don't we do the Florida matchup that is absolutely second on everyone's eyes is Florida KC. That's not an insult to either team, but it's just that's the way it is.
Yeah. So for those of you that watched my picks last week, I'm gonna stick with I'm sticking with my pick. I'm gonna take Florida. Kansas City kind of looked flat in that second game. With the help of VAR, they pulled off a 3-1 victory in the
mini game.
Yes.
Mini game. Challenge everything.
challenge everything. So I mean, they're tired. I mean, they're more. I mean, yeah, they have until Saturday to rest, but Florida had an easier time dispensing St. Louis. Was it 8-4 and 6-4? I do believe, or 8-3 and 6-4. I don't know. If this was being played, if the second game and mini game were being played in Kansas City, I would go Kansas City. The playoff vibe in Kansas City is second to none. Witnessed it last year. But I think Kansas City loses another heartbreaker in the semifinals, just like last year. I'm going to take Florida to win in 2.
So I have another one in my head and my heart picks. Because there's a way this season could end and everyone's going to be mad and everyone's going to cry. And as Craig Elson would say,
Then everyone's mad.
Everyone's mad.
Everyone's mad.
I'm gonna pick KC. I'm gonna see this thing through. I'm gonna pick KC in maybe an upset. I think it would be an upset. I think these teams were going in different directions at different times in the season, but Florida was more consistent. I think KC can put things together like some of the plays that we saw with Benji, with the wall of scores and the passing and the long balls and the free kicks. And I think they just, I think Neto's still a little hurt. He went down a couple times and it did not look good at all. He has a giant like robo knee thing on and he went down clutching his knee more than once. I think another week for him to heal up would be good. I'm not convinced Florida has the goalkeeping in them to.
Yeah, that's the question for both teams, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, how's the health of Neto and Lou Meisner? I mean, I kind of joked to Eric in the chat on Tuesday. I said, if neither of them can go, are you going to be penciled in as the goalie? Like, and then on the other side, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, Heiner House, Jorge Navarrete. If Hugo Silva was in net, I mean, there wouldn't be. I mean, the goalkeeping advantage would be huge for Florida. It would be,
yeah. we wouldn't.
I think, but in terms of, we talk about this all the time, momentum. I mean, both teams kind of, I'm not going to say backed their way in, but Kansas City not really helping Utica out. Thanks, Kansas City.
Yeah. Also, thanks Kansas City for not helping Milwaukee out.
Yeah. So and then Florida kind of backing up a little bit into the playoffs. I kind of look at the first round as, okay, what have these teams done?
Yep.
I mean, Kansas City went into Dallas, played a solid game, physical game, came out on top. Florida played a solid game, came out on top. Zach Raggett, 4 goals. You look at the next game. Florida buckled down. They were down a little bit. I think it was like 3-2 at halftime, 4-2 at halftime, something like that. Came back. Kansas City kind of fell a little flat in the second game, picked it back up, and like I said, I mean, if that VAR call had gone the other way, we might not. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
We could be talking about Dallas and San Diego right now. So I think momentum going into the semifinals, the advantage goes to Florida.
I agree, but I'm going to pick KC.
I said this, I don't know if I've said it to anybody, but if Chihuahua and Kansas City make it to the finals, I did mention it to you. I might travel out to Kansas City to watch the finals.
It would be cool. I might see if I could maybe.
If not, then all bets are off.
Yeah. So then comes our next round: San Diego and Chihuahua. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. These two teams are at a different level. Like, as much as I enjoyed the Kansas City Dallas series. Yeah. neither team is at the level of San Diego or Chihuahua. And I mean, a lot of it is that I watched San Diego just completely demolish Milwaukee. And I shouldn't say that. Milwaukee had 4 very, very, very solid quarters of soccer. Problem was it was across 2 games. It wasn't across 1 game. They held San Diego scoreless in 2 quarters in each game. They were able to score a couple here and there, but then you get San Diego always finds a way. And it's, one game it's Pardo making like point blank saves coming out of nowhere, materializing on different sides of the goal. The other one is Craig Childs standing on the field for 7.5 seconds and scoring 3 goals in 3 kicks. It's just stuff like that.
Wait, who?
Oh, it's
The Craig Chilis.
It's him.
Oh, yeah.
Craig Chiles doesn't need a
Mini game.
but Kevin doesn't like the unfair mini game. But
Well,
yeah.
unfair.
So we have this series. First game is in Chihuahua on Monday, coming up in 4 days, and then the next game is the following Sunday in San Diego.
6 days later.
6 days later. What I would like to see, and what I think are going to happen, maybe 2 different things. But I'm going to pick Chihuahua in a mini game.
Mini game.
And let me go into this. So Jenna's gonna watch and get mad at me, and she's gonna say, "But we already beat Chihuahua twice in Chihuahua, yeah." And that was about 3 weeks before they really ramped up their roster. That was at the tail end of their 0-7 run, and it was in the beginning of their 13-2 or whatever they ended the season with. Beating Chihuahua in Chihuahua, you got to play better than Vanzilla did, and I think Vanzilla played better than Pardo did in the last series. I don't know if Pardo can do it. I think there's just so many shots coming from so many angles and so many different directions. So I think Chihuahua wins the game 1 on the road. Or at home, I think they lose the regular game, and I think when it goes into the
Mini game.
it's almost like a coin flip at that point. I'm gonna pick Chihuahua. All yours. Did I steal your thunder?
I could sum this up in 2 words. I agree. I mean, and I mentioned this in my M2 picks. I mean, we haven't seen a team go undefeated since the 1974 Miami Dolphins.
What about didn't New England do it 1 year?
No.
Sure.
They did it in the regular season, but they lost in the playoffs to the New York Giants. Trust me on this one.
Right. Okay. But it
was
was
2007. It was 2007.
It was a 72 Miami Dolphins, but
It was 72, something like that. But so my point is, we've seen San Diego in this spot. Now Sockers fans are going to be like, well, we were 4-7 and we won the Ron Newman Cup last year. Yeah.
and you guys also whined that Dallas made the playoffs, so
And you guys also went undefeated in a regular season and then lost in the semifinals.
they had 1 loss that season to Tacoma.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, San Diego kind of had 1 loss this season. But so I think you're going to see San Diego falter at some point. What? Okay.
You okay over there? Everything okay?
Yeah, my whiteboard, my doctor's note kind of almost fell off the table. So we're good. So I think you're going to see, and Adam said it exactly the way I was going to say it. I think Chihuahua's going to win at home. And I think you're going to see a great game in San Diego. And I think San Diego's going to pull off maybe a 1-goal victory. And it's going to come down to that mini game. And I think you're going to see a repeat of what happened in Chihuahua against Baltimore. I mean, both teams are coming into this pretty hot. I mean, San Diego's been like that all season. But Chihuahua is starting to kick it back up to that level. I mean, yeah, towards the end of the season, they lost to Utica and almost lost to Harrisburg, but they didn't have their players.
Yeah.
Players are rested, ready to go. Give me Chihuahua in a mini game. I really think they have what it takes to beat the Sockers.
In the mini game, I mean, look at what happened last year. Ontario was one Clayson DeLima knockout from winning that thing.
Yep.
And if he hadn't gone down and gotten replaced, we can't say that Childs wouldn't have scored, because that's what Childs does. He's just a freak of nature, in a good way, it depending on if you're playing against him or not. But you just can't expect the same thing to happen with the same level of goalkeeping. The whole team was shook. They had just watched their guy go down, and like, did he break his neck? What just happened? Oh, we got to play now. And granted, they're professionals; they're taught to do that. But you got to have some sort of semblance of awareness around it, at least.
Right.
But yeah, that's it. I think that's the way it's going to go. Now we're going to sit here next week sometime. We got to talk about when we're going to do a show, because I want to watch the game on Monday, and Thursday I might have something going on. But anyway, if it's flipped and San Diego wins in Chihuahua, it's going to be a completely different discussion next week.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. But props to our friend Juan about his Saint Popper defeating the Sorcerer of Anzella picture that he posted.
I saw that. I about died.
It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
If a team can beat playoff Vanzella, I mean, they're doing something right.
I haven't seen Vanzella play like this since they won the last championship.
Yeah, we saw. I mean, geez, we saw playoff Vanzella last year when he played for San Diego. I mean, geez.
And that wasn't anywhere near as good as he was this series, which I know is tougher for him to deal with because they didn't win. But so you do realize that the only must-see Twitch final is Casey versus San Diego. I might not even watch the game and just read mean comments from soccer fans. Eric said that.
Yeah, he mentioned it. I mean, yeah, and it was funny. So they kept mentioning, they keep mentioning us on the broadcast, and even though we're not playing,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
So we went Bergrudian on that Soccer's Chihuahua game.
So all right, it is time
for the first annual.
But what we should do before this? Now would be a great time for? It'd be a great time for a timeout. We'll be right back.
Now would be a great time for a timeout. Now, back to them.
Them.
Back to them.
Speaking of back to them, good news, Joey Zanaboni is coming back for the next season in St. Louis.
Yes, and he's doing baseball for
not Phillipsburg, but Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg, yeah.
Yes.
That's what it was.
So I didn't have any time to do like a theme show music, so sing like some circus music.
It's the first annual In the Box Paper Plate Awards. Jazz hands.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
And guys, let me just say this. So this is our first annual In the Box Paper Plate Awards. Next year, if we have more subscribers, who knows? We might even upgrade it to finer paper plastic or paper plate awards.
So,
and do you know how to do that?
Click the button. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Somebody the other day, and Sydney, I'm calling you out by name, said he couldn't get to the group because he said something and pissed Matt off, and Matt banned him a while back. And he said, I don't know when the shows are because I can't get in the group to find out when the shows are. If only there was a way that YouTube could tell you when we're going live.
Yeah. The subscribe button, and then you hit the little bell, and it's like, hey, In the Box is going live.
So while we're gone, we hit number 66. Aaron says, is this Paper Plates Award to honor the fans or just those fans eating corn dogs? No. It's interesting. He says, and then he said, I'm throwing my challenge flag on this timeout. It's impacting the outcome of the show. And then Aaron said, I made a deal with the devil that the Wave should make the finals. It cost me a firstborn. And I got with this lousy t-shirt. Oh, boy. So what inspired me to do this were two things. Hey, Matt, you're on mute. Does Matt know he's on mute? I think he's on the phone. We play it. But no, I'm not coming to the barbecue this weekend because I need to watch my soap operas. We're going to take a time out and figure out what Matt's doing because I think he took a phone call and he didn't disconnect. So we'll be right back again.
Now would be a great time for a timeout. Now, back to them.
All right, everybody challenging the timeouts. I believe you don't have any challenge flags left because you used it to challenge the start time of the show, and you can't challenge, double challenge, triple challenge.
But hang on, we did mention at the beginning, In the Box, challenge everything.
Well, that's true. All right, everyone gets
Well-
challenge flags back.
Fine. It was my fault. Hannah called me. So
Hi, Hannah.
what's a guy to do? I can't say no. Oh, Hannah picks Florida and Chihuahua as well. So there's Hannah's picks.
Wait, what did Hannah say?
Florida and Chihuahua.
Okay. And Eric says, I showed up to right after the Comets practice today and was talking virtual reality. No, a video replay with some of the staff. Someone said you should lose a timeout for incorrect challenge. Me, you never use timeouts. That's no loss.
They're trying to make. I think they're trying to make a timeout command in the Twitch chat. I think one of the mods of the Twitch chat is going to make a timeout.
Ooh, can you do it back to them?
Now, back to them.
You do one of those?
I mean,
back
yeah,
to them
maybe.
command. Can we do a
Mini game.
command?
Yes.
All right.
All right. So yeah, first annual.
So the first annual paper
award.
play. So with 2 weeks left in the season, the league pulls this. With 2 weeks left in the season, and San Diego already ran away with the league with the number of points in the top spot, the top seed. It was essentially all but. It was only going to be a fluke if they didn't win the entire thing. The MASL comes out with a shield to give them called the MASL Shield. And I thought it was the most ridiculous thing. And I had this thought. And then I looked at this thing. And I'm like, we should do our own awards like that. And we'll call them the Paper Plate Awards. Now, look at this plate in particular. What does that resemble to you, the artwork on it? Flight. Challenge everything.
Challenge everything.
Unfortunately, then, I lost the vote. And the first annual are going to be on the generic dollar store paper plates rather than the...
But I mean, hey, if everyone hits that subscribe button, I mean, who knows what happens next season?
Right.
I can tell you one thing: we're not going to make 85 corn dog trophies and send them out to people because
Aaron De La Rosa.
well, A, that would be expensive. B, who knows where they would end up? One word. Oh, I know what he's doing.
Aaron De La Rosa a while ago won this. It is a Velcro 2 corn dogs in a bag, or
Yes, he did.
and someone has been slacking and forgot to bring it to like 7 games in a row. So Aaron, before I forget, message me your mailing address, and I will get this out to you sometime before next season.
Maybe you two could meet up a la Mark Litton.
We do a back alley deal in the Ridge parking lot. What's funny is that we don't live that far from each other, a half an hour tops. And I've seen him 5 times since then, and every time I see him, like, son of a bitch. Guess what? I forgot again.
That's what.
So anyway, I have written up, and Matt and I kind of went over this, some awards that we'd like to give out on the show.
Now these aren't real awards. The real awards that we're gonna pick ourselves will probably be next week.
Well, these are every bit as real as any award that.
Well, I mean, we're not picking MVP, Coach of the Year. We're picking other amazing categories.
Right. Yes.
Which you will find out eventually.
Yeah, because our new motto here at In the Box is
You got to challenge everything.
exactly. So these are not really in an order. I kind of wrote them down as I thought about them, but I didn't really put them in an order of like this one leads to that one leads to that one. So they may be all over the place.
But we don't have that on our show. We don't have order
We don't have order. We have chaos
and cake.
and cake. Oh, speaking of which. Whew, that was pretty good. So anyway, our first award goes to the best show co-hosted by an Adam. Nominees are In the Box and MASL Mondays. What's your pick?
I mean, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the In the Box Paper Plate Awards for this honor. It is a privilege to be doing the show every week, trying to be here every week,
Almost every week.
Talking MASL soccer, talking about everything MASL soccer, not just like two different things, and it takes up 30 minutes.
So the winner is In the Box.
Yes.
All right. That works really well.
Give a speech?
That worked really well, actually.
Your speech now.
I still think the best thing I did was when they first came out, and I posted, "Mom, I want to see that show with Adam and the other guy," and they're like, "No, we have Adam and the other guy at home," and I put a picture of MSL Mondays on there.
Yeah.
All right. The most ridiculous camera angles award. Goes to. We have 3 nominees for this. This is in-game. When you see the most ridiculous camera angles, Chihuahua, Ontario, and the Tacoma Stars. And I think unanimously, the winner goes to the Tacoma Stars. You can't have a game where the ball is here and the goal is here, and you don't have both of those on the camera angle at the time when the guy's shooting. So, most ridiculous camera angles, Tacoma Stars.
Got to work on that aim.
Next, some of you think you may be winning this. You will be wrong. Best mascot. Nominees.
I mean, there's only really one.
There's Bushwhacker. Bushwhacker's been a loyal show.
There's 2.
He's been a loyal viewer of the show, but I think to give this to anyone else but the corn dog mascot would be you can't do it. This one I won't even break the glass. I will set this one down. Oops.
Hey, maybe if it's a Chihuahua Kansas City, maybe we could just hand it to him in person and he can give like a speech or something.
I will not be mailing these out. I'm not going to spend. These are really cheap. Like, you remember the ones that you had as a kid of these? These are even cheaper. Like, you can see the writing.
Yeah, you can't do it. You could see through that.
Yeah.
Did Eric can write his speech in the chat if you want.
Eric, you can write. He said challenge everything a while back. So.
All right. So I mean, we can challenge that.
So here we go. Worst mascot. Now, there are a number of mascots that made this list. I think
Fun fact, any of the mascots in the Utica mascot game.
So fun fact,
viable option.
Of my final 3 nominations, 2 of them are from Utica. One is Flemmy the Flu. The other one is the real mascot of Utica, which is Keeper, the alien bug-eyed dragon
dinosaur velociraptor thing.
And then, of course, Baltimore's mascot, Lewis Melcher. But I think unanimously this one has to go to our friend Keeper.
I don't know if he's a friend. See, that's a tough one for me personally. I could, but I do agree. I could stand closer to Flemmy the Flu than Keeper.
I mean, Brad Beach looks creepy. The San Diego soccer dude looks creepy. Those little kid dudes in Chihuahua look creepy, but Keeper is.
He's on a whole nother level.
This button is one of the most fun things I've ever been doing. The only thing better than this button is this one.
Mini game.
All right. This one is a little bit hard. I had, you guys notice that my handwriting is slightly worse than the handwriting that are on these plates. So I have my wife write these because you can read what she wrote. This is the most ridiculous change in the last 2 weeks of the season award. Nominees are the move from YouTube to Twitch, the ball change to undo the ball that was done to do the ball, to fix the ball, to change the ball.
Thing.
The playoff format miscues, like, is Utica in? No, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they aren't. Hey, wait, let's change. No, tiebreakers. Oh, yeah, no. Or number 4, the MASL Shield thing. I don't have a winner picked out for this one.
So I am going to say the MSL Shield. Here's why. I think the move from YouTube to Twitch is getting more views than I think a game on YouTube. I think the Kansas City, Dallas had over 2,000 at one point. So I think that's good. I think the change in the flight ball from white to yellow definitely helps, especially in one arena that shall remain nameless.
Did you hear about what the other changes were?
What is it? The debladdering of the bladder?
The change to the ball, to the white ball, was to reduce the bounce. But by doing that, they made it a weapon, more like a cannonball than anything. So to fix the ball, they removed the bladder that was meant to fix the ball in the first place.
And they changed. I like the color change.
But you know what?
The color change was.
You know what they really did? They challenged everything.
They did challenge everything.
They did challenge it.
And then the playoff format, I didn't mind that they changed it to where Utica was in. So I mean, I'm cool with that. So the only one that really didn't make any sense to me in the timing of it was the MASL Shield. So I am voting for that.
That seems to be a winner for me.
See, that didn't work because I heard it.
I know. I lost my mouse cursor for a second. Here's my thoughts on Twitch. So YouTube was developed as a video playing system. Twitch was developed as a live streaming system. So a lot of things you're going to get with YouTube, you're not going to get with Twitch because it's not meant to look at videos. It's meant to watch them in live. It's not meant to rewind and go forward and backward and all this other stuff. It works. Is it gotten more views? Sure. Is the algorithm for the views different? Sure. Did it get 285,000 and we're going to hitch our horse to that? Sure. I just didn't like the way, we've talked about that. I didn't like the way they did it. I didn't like.
Right. No. I don't like the way they did it either, but I think the move was necessary. And like I said, the move would have been done months ago, but I guess they were working out some kinks from what I've been told. So,
and still,
yeah, the timing of it was kind of wonky.
I will say this, I would rather see a move to Twitch than a whole bunch of teams doing local like Fox Sports or CBS Sports or whatever other channel localized broadcasts on TV. I'd rather see this because I don't think those help as much as people think they do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at YouTube versus Twitch in regards to views. I mean, you can track views on both of them. Yeah, YouTube has issues. Yeah, Twitch has issues, but both of them are tracked by views. And so far, Twitch seems to have more views. And I'm going to guarantee that we're going to have more views on the semifinals, especially after being on SportsCenter.
I would hope so. That Benji video. And you know what? When we took our little time out before, I had a thought of if the Benji goal happened in Florida in the semifinals, would it get anywhere near the amount of publicity that it did with that crappy broadcast? With the weird colors and I don't think so at all. I think Eric, I know you're watching, but you're oh wow, or whatever you guys said, he didn't do that. He did. It was perfect. It was the perfect call for the perfect time.
Yeah.
Whereas you get Brian Eckler going, oh, and a shot, I want to go. Oh, would you look at that? That was a great shot.
Wow, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, you're not going to get that level of, and I think Matt Thornton would have gotten a great level of energy as well, because those guys know what good play is and things.
Yeah, I think and you could throw in Ray from Utica. I think
Biggsy would be a good
Yeah,
Good
Bigsy
call.
would have.
Joey Zanaboni, if that would have been a St. Louis goal, would have been the most ridiculous comment of the century, and I would have loved it, and we would have played it on here like nonstop every night on the show.
Yep.
All right, so the next one, I wrote this up before anything happened, towards the end of the year, when playoffs were still in question. Why does it only say 9 minutes on the counter?
I don't know.
Huh. Well, we have no idea how long the show is. Somebody let us know when we need to do a time. We need to go to overtime. To
Overtime. Overtime. Overtime.
We'll just call 9:30 the time. We'll have to pay attention. So I wrote this. I wrote this played up as one of my first original ideas. And by the way, Kelsey, if you're still watching, you're going to be upset that I didn't choose your idea, but we'll mention it later. This was right in the middle of all this going on. So the player most likely to get screwed by the refs award, unfortunately, goes to Ian Bennett this year for a ridiculous non-call, and then a yellow card, and then a no-goal call, and at least we got VAR out of it. So there's that. This one I altered a one word into it. It started out as the most ridiculous, and I changed it to the most ridiculously awesome jacket. And that has to go to Philly for the red sparkly whatever the hell that thing was.
They are very stylish. I think both of them should get props for
yeah,
their choice in suit jackets. Nothing against Nick and Eric and what they wear, but
it's not red sequins or red sparklies.
I mean, you have to throw in. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I mean, when Eric wore the corn dog mask or the corn dog suit up into the booth, I mean it's not a jacket.
But you got corn dog suit, which is infinitely awesome, or you have this red thing that like they could spot from a satellite in space if the light's shining on it the right way. So I give this one to Philly. No, so okay, Aaron said it only says 9 minutes because we keep calling timeout, but it shouldn't, because here.
Now would be a great time for a
Now, back to them.
And it doesn't reset because I have it set up to there. Something I did before went to a different thing.
Maybe Hannah had something to do with it. Maybe I had the conversation with Hannah 11 minutes and 45 seconds ago, and
I don't know.
Maybe we've been doing this for 24 hours.
I'm late to work. 7 times.
Already missed work.
5 times. All right. This one is a interesting award. Please hold. Well, we need to do a taste test here.
So, fun fact, this cake was the same cake that I ended up getting Willie B and Robbie Williamson in Harrisburg. It's from Buddy Velastro's, wherever, but they had it at Ruby Tuesdays.
This cake, so there's a Wisconsin thing, gas station chain called Quick Trip. And this was the cake that Matt DoorDashed to me the one night. It's a carrot cake with a spiced cinnamon roll frosting. And it's really, really, really good.
Minus raisins, which is blasphemy.
Yours has raisins? What? No, minus raisins, which is the best thing ever. So I think this award is a tie because it's cake. So all cake wins.
But I will say, I think the best cake award should go to Willie B for giving Hannah and Henry cupcakes.
That is the best winner I've ever heard. Willie B, enjoy your cake. or enjoy the cake that the. Oh, so Aaron says be right back. Heading a Quick Trip. Cliff said the Quick Trip pizza. So Cliff, we got the pothole pizzas. I got the spicy sausage. We got a pepperoni. We got a cheese, and we all liked them a lot. We'll definitely be back. Shouldn't be excited. It's a frozen pizza, but all right.
Before we go on, I have to reiterate, because I know Hannah is going to, if she watches the show, all we do is talk about cake. We do not talk about the P word on this show.
Points.
No, we talk about that.
Phantom Knocker.
No, it's also known as 3.1412 something something something.
Okay. All right.
No, we don't talk about that.
But so we had
it's a blasphemous word here in the box.
We had this conversation the other day. There is a certain type of that we were talking about. Blueberry with a lemon curd top.
So this, you may find this shocking. If you were to ask me my favorite dessert, it would be a coconut cream that
yeah,
with graham cracker crust.
What about the coconut cream cake though? The coconut cake from like the Brownberry or Peppered Farm or whatever it is, that's good too.
I got to tell you, if you ever venture up north to Canada, there's a maker of, I think there's they do potatoes as well, McCain, based out of I think Maine or around there. They have a marble cake, and it's got this like decadent chocolate frosting on top. It's really good. I'm trying to get my cousin to send it to me. I doubt it'll happen, but yeah, that or Pepperidge Farm, the coconut cake.
Pepperidge Farm, yeah,
it's really good. We should do in the off season.
Cake off.
We should do. You know how they have those like tiers? It's like S tier, A, B, C, D, and they rate cakes or rate something. Like we should get cakes and try them out, and then like grade them.
We could do one of the competitive eaters that I happen to watch some YouTube's channel on did that with pizzas. And he graded them and he gave them a grade and everything. But we could do, you know how that one league that hasn't started yet, but they still try to make buzz about themselves and they have like 300 followers, the ASL, I think. They did the brackets for the best player of all time or whatever. We could do that with cake. We could make a cake bracket and people vote on it.
Send the winners a scarf.
Scarf. Hey, speaking of scarf, it's almost the In the Box 2-year anniversary. I got to dig up what date it was, but I thought it was like October. I thought it was like April.
There's a show where I actually had like the date, like it's 362 days.
Yeah, it was like April 22nd or 23rd of 2020 is when we started this whole thing.
By the way, and I'm just throwing this out there, that bracket thing was I don't know how that came about.
Yeah.
It's
so when we were talking about the pothole pizzas from Quick Trip, Cliff and Lucy basically lived through COVID by Quick Trip pizzas and watching Nick and Eric every Friday night doing a broadcast. I think a lot of us had our what?
But not us.
Well, no, we weren't. Well, no, it was Friday night. Yeah, well, not us. Did it? Anyway, let's move on. We're only about halfway done here. The award for the best tiny field.
I'm going to throw in a third option.
Okay.
Okay, the first two, obviously we know. Baltimore, Chihuahua. My third one is going to be that little tiny field that they had at the Milwaukee Utica game that we saw.
So it's funny you say it because this was originally a trick question because there is no best tiny field. But since you brought that up, that is the winner.
All right.
Stefan Soccer in Milwaukee, Wisconsin locations. They had these little things that you could, I don't even know what the whole point of it was, or rubber bands and balls and things.
I think after a few beers, I noticed it, and I'm like, boy, that looks like Baltimore's field.
Yeah.
Adam, it's Baltimore's field.
We get that with like really weird whiteboards and some green turf with stickers all over it. So the winner of the best tiny field goes to the Stefan Soccer little mini game.
Yay.
Sticking to a theme. I don't even know if I have to talk about this one.
What is it? Oh, the easiest points earned award?
Easiest points earned award for not showing up to 2 games goes to
3 games.
Well, they didn't get a point for the 3rd game.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
I wrote this out wrong, or I had Tar write this out wrong. This one is going to go for the category here. I'm going to say out loud, and the winner is written on the plate. It is the worst kept up stat on the MASL website. Is the injury report. You'll notice there's a tear in the plate here.
But they're not gonna tell you about that.
But apparently, what I heard is the teams were supposed to be penalized for not going through the injury report, but then they weren't penalized this year and they weren't upholding it for unknown reasons. Any team that actually did do it and do their due diligence was basically hurt by it because they're giving away free information. So there's
great. You probably heard that even more. I mean, there's a song out there about it.
The most ridiculous goalkeeper rule change award goes to the goalkeeper rule. But
let the goalies kick the ball. Let the goalies kick the ball.
So the cool thing is, I needed to. I really wanted to. I couldn't get a hold of the guy to do it. I wanted him to re-sing that chorus and point the camera at the ball, and that would be like a theme song for Boma.
Yeah.
The best had to be their moment. Not you, Baltimore. We're not talking about you for this one. We think we pick on you for everyone, and this actually applies to you guys, but you had to be there for this one to apply.
Yes.
So the best had to be their moment was Matt in his kind of a low point in his season. Visiting Milwaukee, Milwaukee. Utica was not at their best point in the season. Milwaukee wasn't at their best point in the season. Matt was taking things a little too hard. Matt may have had a beer or two in him at this time. And stands up and yells out, "That was contact above the head."
And here's the thing. I still say that. Like, I will be watching a game and it still comes out of my mouth. And I have to stop myself. And I'm like, I'm not drunk.
So just so everyone is aware here, this is the head. This is above the head. It's kind of hard to have contact above the head. So the best had to be their moment was being there for the contact above the head moment.
I'm not accepting that award. You can accept it, but
I'll accept it on your behalf.
My best had to be their moment.
Some of those jokes, they go right
over my shoulders.
Over your shoulders. Right smack in between your eyes.
Why do I do this?
Next award is the best red card exit. I mean,
this is a no-brainer. I think at this
Andre
point.
Hain.
Best exit in general.
Andre Hain, 100%, basically flips himself over the plexiglass that they added to separate the fans and the player tunnel. Sits in a seat, gets brought a couple of beers and a popcorn. Actually, somebody gave him a soda and a popcorn, and he gave it to some kid, which I thought was really cool. And then he gets 2 beers, chugs them both. Everyone cheers. This is the best moment for the for the game. These moments like this are the best types of things. The Benji goal has 1 million views. It's great. This will bring fans back. This will get fans talking about it. This will get that family we sat next to with a memory that they won't ever get rid of. And it's not going to be, oh my God, he drank a beer while he was on the sidelines. It's minor league sports, whether we want to agree to it or not.
It reminds me of the first, I don't know if it was the first ever game in Utica history. I think it was an inter-squad game, and Joey Tavernisi scored a goal and grabbed a beer from someone in the beer garden and like did a toast to the crowd. Like, I think those things right there, it puts memories in people's heads. And I hope your best memory of my Contact Above the Head had people coming back to.
Yes. So Andre Hain, congratulations. I need to write a new plate out. The great thing about dollar store is you can get more than one plate. And
are you coming up with awards on the fly here?
I am, because Lucy said, "Can this be the new left joke?"
Are we giving Lucy an award for the direction award?
In an impromptu, the That's Not Left, That's Right award goes to Lucy Johnson. Congratulations, Lucy. She thought that was going to work Lucy, in her favor.
Adam did that, not me. I did not. Best. Are you reading what I'm reading right now?
Which, from Dave?
Yeah.
Best in catalog. Dave, did you see the award for the worst mascot? And we included Baltimore's mascot of Lewis Melcher.
Or what was that? What was that name? What was the name of the director? Billy Blast or something like that?
Yeah, Bobby Blast. So
Bobby Blast. Yeah.
Lucy's like, yes, I won. I'm a winner. Speaking of which, since we know Dave is watching right now. The Jabroni Fan of the Year award goes to Dave Kowaleski.
Hey, did anyone out there in Chatland, was the other group's Fan of the Year announced yet?
Oh, yeah. You want me to write that one down? Other group's Fan of the Year goes to? Wasn't it like...
We don't know.
Somebody's mom won it one year or something who wasn't even in the group, and they nominated her anyway just to not have anyone else win.
Anyone else? Yeah. I think it was like us. I think you were at you finished third, and I was like in fifth or something like that.
What's funny is the next award kind of fits right in with that. Is the worst post-game interviewer award goes to. Next.
Here I am interviewing Ian Bennett with 1T.
Oh boy!
I gotta say, his last interview was I mean, Commissioner Tozer, yeah, he carried that interview. It sounded like Greg was eating his microphone, but
that was awkward. One thing that was interesting, we'll have to talk about this next week. Note here. Okay. We only have really 2 left.
Wow.
This one is worded wrong because I didn't know how to word it, so I changed it at the last minute, and it looks wrong. But this is the worst name or like terminology change for no reason. Our nominees are changing the word rules to laws, having a fit about people saying the word rules when it was really game protocols, and then of course
minigame. How
How close are we? to 100, Cliff, because we're gonna hit that before. And you know who the winner is, obviously.
Mini game.
We're at 74. Oh, gonna be a really annoying last couple minutes here, I guess. So this one we put up our best guest on our show award. And I can't throw this one. There's no other guest that we'd rather have than Hannah on this show. And I feel bad for saying that because the other players may not agree with that, but it was 60 seconds until something. But I think having Hannah on has always been a bright spot. Watching her grow up on this, because you did this for 2 seasons before we did this.
Hannah and I have been doing this for quite a while now, and just her level of knowledge, it's mind-boggling. Like, and just her excitement when a player says hi to her, or like if I get a message from a player and I tell her, she's like, ooh, she gets like super excited, like a kid at Christmas. And I mean, she's met a lot of players over the years. And
10 seconds overtime.
What's that?
10 seconds overtime.
Oh, all right. Oh, wait, are we going into overtime or is it a mini game?
Overtime. Overtime. Mini game.
Okay. We're doing both. Adam G wants to know if was Gio a close second.
He was in the running for a while. But I think, now that you mention it, you had a best had to be there moment. I have one too.
Okay.
Go back a few months where we had me, you, Eric Bergard, and we had Hannah on the show. And we were talking about COVID protocols and things like that. And Henry normally doesn't come on the show, but his presence was felt. I mean, both on the show and wherever he was. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back, and Adam did a joke compilation.
I did a dedicated video to that one. If you go to the In the Box YouTube channel, which while you're there, hit the little button thing and do that and the bell and everything. There is a Henry moments. I think I called it Henry moments instead of corn dog moments. And
so that's my best had to be there moment. Like being in this room, in this chair, having Hannah next to me. And I've watched it over and over again. Like Adam is seriously talking, and Eric's intently listening. He's like, mm-hmm. And then Henry just drops those 3 words, "Daddy, I farted," and Eric still had that look on his face. He's like, mm-hmm.
Eric is trying to avoid. He's like, "There's no way I can break here. I have to stay calm with a face."
He's like, "I'm not breaking first."
Right.
Well, first Henry broke. Henry broke first. Win, but that was my favorite moment. I mean, not just because he did that, but just because they were here being a part of the show. And watching Hannah grow up over the years is definitely been good.
It was definitely a moment, for sure. Because, I'm like, did that make it on the broadcast?
None of us knew what to do. Right. I'm like, I hope that really didn't make it on, and we could just keep going. And then I saw you crack up a little bit, and I'm like, oh God, no.
And I was talking about the COVID clouds, and if you're in that for 15 minutes, and bam, right on cue.
It was the timing was perfect. So.
All right, so we have one more official paper plate award. And this one is kind of near and dear to my heart. It is the Best Typo Award. Now,
we have so many to choose from, though.
If you remember from last season, a certain Florida Tropics team made the playoffs. They made their first Evet appearance in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if you search those letters, there's still an article out there. They fixed it on the MASL site, but of course, people who pick up news reports and copy them and things, it's still out there. So for this one, the Best Typo Awards, and what's funny is like 3 or 4 of these happened in the same like 2-day period. We have the Chihuahua Savage from our St. Louis friends. We have the Colorado Infierno from our
Italian fans.
Was that the Wichita Wings broadcast, I think?
Yes.
Recently, we had Men, which stands for Memphis, I guess.
The Memphis.
On the 4-hour 2-game broadcast, they had MEN for Memphis.
They should have just put a WO in front of it for the women's game. The Woe Memphis.
Yeah, right. And then most recently, we had the MASL Mondays Eric Berglund. And then when I pointed it out, they tried to fix it, and they fixed one of them to Bergrund, but still got that wrong and still left the other one as Berglund. But
both of them played for Milwaukee.
Both of them played for Milwaukee back in the day. However, there is one, and I hope I don't screw this up. There's one that lives forever in our hearts, which is the St. Louis Ambuns. That will
my God.
Ever go down in infamy as
always remember.
Aaron says the MASL needs Clippy. So Ambuns definitely wins this one.
You know something is memorable when it's stuck in your head. You know exactly like what happened. I mean, after a show, watching the game, noticing that and being like, huh?
Well, and
rewinding.
It's funny because as soon as I brought up the plate, Cliff, Aaron, Eric, all typed in Ambuns. Eric Ambuns forever. It's just. And what was funny,
and it was like the first thing I do with anything weird MASL related, I call Adam, and I'm like, "Yeah, did you notice the start of the game?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Yeah. I'm like, "Go back," and then that's the thing with YouTube. You could go back and look, and I'm like, "Go back to 9 minutes and something," and he's like, "Okay, what?"
So I thought he was going to talk about, because Jamie Lovegrove was playing, and our joke was that Mario Alvarez, not the wave player, but the announcer from Turlock, used to call him Lovegroove. I thought they messed up his name and they called him Lovegroove. So I'm listening with the phone here, kind of staring off into space, not doing it. And Matt's like, "Did you see it?" I'm like, "Nope." Like, look at the graphic. I'm like, "What is that?" So that was one of the most perfect, not perfect moments in the history of the league.
And therein lies the birth of Bunswhacker.
That spawned Bunswhacker. That spawned
the Ambuns jersey.
Leanne says, "How about worst player name pronunciations in a game?" We do not have enough time for that segment on this show in one day.
I mean, I think my personal favorite is always going to be Sam Guernsey.
Guernsey. And then the explanation that, well, that's what the pronunciation guide said.
I think that would be my personal favorite. I'm trying to think of others.
Well, I mean, Marcio Leite's name has been said 40 different times.
Right.
Right. The guy in Chicago used to be really, really hyper, and he called Josh Lemons.
Well, that's how.
Which is funny because now we found that's the way it's pronounced.
Yeah, he told us that in when we had him on the show.
But Grable has been Grubble, Grabble, Gribble.
I I will say my favorite pronunciation of a player is a tie. It's actually a tie.
Okay.
Between, and it's both from the Chihuahua announcers. If you haven't seen a Chihuahua broadcast, watch one. It's great. Can't understand a word they're saying, but they come up with some great things, as you've heard. I mean, with overtime and the other one.
Mini game.
The first one,
Craig Chili's
The Craig Chilis.
and Willie B.
Willie B. When he said William Van Zelle, so I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be, so Eric says, funny coincidence, the Ambuns was a turnaround point in Dallas' season. Is that a coincidence or a lesson to be learned?
Blame it on the M-Buns.
Blame it on the Ambuns. So when we do things like this, like play the
Craig Chilis. Mini game.
we're not making fun of the Chihuahua broadcasters. I think the accents are really cool. I am hopelessly white and I will never be able to roll my R's in my entire life. And I just find the language fascinating. So when we say stuff like this, we're not making fun of anyone. However,
they're passionate. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they could sit there and call the game, and it could be kind of like a Brian Ackley-esque type thing. It's not going to be as good as what they do. I mean, they're super passionate. It sounds like they're super cool guys, from what Philly and Panda have told us.
They finally showed him in the game on whenever that was, Monday night. He finally showed the two guys in the booth.
They had Philly. I think Philly put something on in the box, picture of the four of them before the Ontario Chihuahua game. But that's the thing. I mean, and I would imagine all announcers down there are like that, and that's awesome. That only helps the sport.
At times I've wanted to learn Spanish just so I can understand more, but I think I might lose the energy understanding what they're saying.
Yeah.
But that said, so the other night when they say William Van Zelle, William, so I type on my phone in a group chat I'm in, WEEEEEEEIIILIM. I use the swipe typing because if I hold my phone, I'm an old man, so I have finger problems and things. But I'd use the swipe, and you can swipe through a word, and it'll do autocorrect. Will pick up whatever you type. That's in my autocorrect buffer, as it knows if I start to type that in all the way out.
Yeah, I have a few of those as well.
We're almost in overtime. I see. There's overtime for this
Mini game.
as well as the overtime for the show, which we're already in. We may need to go to overtime for
Mini game.
because I keep hitting the
Mini game.
button which says
Mini game.
every time I want it to say.
Mini game.
How does that come through? Does that come through like I'm almost talking? I mean, obviously,
No,
different voices.
it works. It works.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mini game. Michael Jordan lo hizo. I believe I can fly.
I can fly. And those are like my text message and my ringtone. Like those things are like a part of my life.
Whose
So I know
phone is
someone's texting
ringing?
me when it's
The Craig Chilis.
Yeah, Steve says those Mexico announcers are great, and I do not know any Spanish. So
My ringtone is actually a mashup. It's whose phone is ringing.
Right, and then it's a Craig Chili.
Yeah, and then it's Craig Chili's. When someone texts me, it's I believe I can fly.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all the I did have one other award. So Eric mentioned early on, he said there better be a Jamie Lovegrove award in here. And hang on. So Cliff said I was a Spanish minor in college. I understand every fifth word, but the problem is they talk so fast, 5 words can go by, and I won't even realize
I wouldn't know the fifth word if.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know if you slowed it down to if it was on YouTube, slowed it down to like a quarter speed, you still wouldn't be able to decipher a fifth word.
I don't think so. It's so smooth, and yeah, it's just one of the coolest things out there to watch or listen to. I wish they could get their audio a little bit figured out, but from talking to John and Philly, it was so loud on the platform they were on, they couldn't hear each other talk. So they were guessing what they were saying and what the other person was saying, and they couldn't hear anything. I think it's just the acoustics in there because the walls are like all like cinder block type. I think the sound just bounces and goes like crazy in there. So when you have, I bet that's the loudest arena in the league. If we had like actual sound measurements, the 1750 they had in there the other night, I bet that was the loudest crowd in the league.
I'm gonna agree, even though I'm kind of biased.
Yeah,
but I would imagine 1750 in that small arena would create a lot of noise.
right.
Utica's up there as well, so
Because of the acoustics, yeah.
yeah. I mean geez, it's a hockey arena, so
Adam has a question. The answer is
Mini game.
right.
But yeah, so anyway, I did have one other plate. It was goofy. So this is specifically for Eric. I said the best name that sounds like an emotional dance. And the answer would have been Love Groove. But kind of hard to... the best I could come up.
Right. No, and that's pretty much the only...
So I will say I'll embarrass Kelsey here if she's still watching. She wanted me to do the best strip tease. Because apparently during one game, Matt Perla took his shirt off at the bench that I didn't see. Not that Matt, I could send him a message. He would... but I don't know what to put that up against. There were some...
really, I don't know if that's deserving of the first annual In the Box Paper Plate Awards.
Maybe the second if we have more... Like if Huffman did his thing in Milwaukee the same year that Perella did, then we could have like a...
I would not want to go down that road either.
No. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of things we've seen on the benches we probably don't want to repeat or again.
We've seen a lot of things on the field that we don't want to.
Right. The best medical procedure. He took a shot to the nether regions in one of the games, and those fingers just popped right out at that point.
Yeah.
There was something that was needed to be... Oh, that was something that needed to be... Yeah. There was another needed to be there moment. I think the turn left and turn right one worked really well.
Yeah, that is another you had to be there moment because it was just pure classic.
Even explaining it doesn't
yeah, even explaining it doesn't really do it justice. It's I don't think we could ever recreate it.
No, you can't.
No.
Just like the old that one. Phantom Knocker.
Yeah, and then the proceedings leading or after that, trying to get a confession out of him and having Elton DeOliveira and Vinny Dantas playing detective with us.
Cliff says that's just pure Lucy. Lucy says my dad will never even know the truth of the moment. He knows. Lucy, he knows.
Oh, he knows. I think that's the first time we explained it. I think that was the best time we explained it. I think he got a good picture, and
Cliff says he recreates it every day with her. So, as a father of two, he knows. I guarantee you, he knows. Well, it's kind of all the things we have for tonight. Let me see if I missed anything.
So we're winding down. So I think I'm gonna tie this into the ending of the show, and I'm gonna give a paper plate award to worst dad joke of the year, and I'm sure it's gonna be the joke that you give this evening.
There's one thing we didn't go over that I figured next week is a good time for because it's right in the middle of. So next week we're going to be in the middle of playoffs, and it's going to be in the middle of two games. Next week we might do Tuesday.
Ooh, I have an idea.
Friday. We could do Friday next week.
Regardless.
Yeah.
I have an idea. We've talked about this for a few weeks now, but we haven't made it happen because Thursdays are not a good day. for certain people to come on the show.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk. I'll send a message out and see.
Okay.
I think it would have been better before the wave went in, but yeah, we could do that. Kelsey posted a question in the box that I think we should discuss.
Absolutely.
And let's we'll tease it here. She says one realistic thing you would like to see from the MASL next season. Maybe we'll do some homework and we'll each come up with a couple and talk about them. And then seriously, not paper plate style.
I've already come up with one, but I'll go into more in depth.
I would like to challenge everything.
We can do that, of course.
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a couple notes of stuff we can talk about next week, and then we'll be in between playoff games, so maybe that will
we can definitely go over game 1 and keys to game 2 and whatever the subsequent game is after that if it gets tied.
Paper plates to the game? No, that doesn't work. Keys to the game works. Paper plates to the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of in that budget where paper plates to the game is probably better than keys to the game, but
right, yeah, that's true. That's true. They're cheaper.
Oh, absolutely.
Paper plates are cheap.
Yeah.
So I think with that said, we're gonna say goodnight. Oh, we're still. Oh, you know what? Hang on.
Minigame.
That should do it. Unless they all didn't come through.
Well, I think they all did. So thank you everyone for watching. I don't know how long we've been. I don't even know what time it is at this point.
9:50 my time.
Oh, almost 11 o'clock. Okay, not bad.
2 hours and 20
8 hours
minutes.
of sleep. I can do that. So yeah, next week, time to be determined. We'll go over game 1, give our awards to Coach of the Year and all that fun stuff.
We're gonna do that. Why don't we just say right now we're gonna do Friday?
Okay.
Next Friday.
Yeah, I think Friday is a definite possibility, and you know what? Don't worry about the guest.
Okay.
I might have one lined up.
Okay. Cliff is gonna be off the grid for a week. They're going to somewhere fun. Cliff, thank you for counting all the. I can't say anymore because we just hit 100.
Cliff, you get a paper plate award and a point.
Oh yes, that I can do.
There we go.
You guys are out of town. Everyone's out of town next week. Should we put it off a week? Should we
put a poll up on the?
So
Facebook
there were 19 people watching until they realized it was time for the end joke. And now nobody's there. Now it's 12.
No, you guys can't leave me hanging like that. I mean, I go through it every single week, so I stick through it, and you should too. So for those 7 people that left,
so I think for punishment we should do it because I had a longer one and I had a really short one. We do both. Because the short one I think is pretty easy to figure out. All right. So if A is for apple and B is for banana, what is C for? Plastic explosives.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say something similar to that. I was figuring it out in my head.
Right.
So.
And that's why I just said it without.
Right. Okay. Yes.
So.
Okay. Hang on.
There's this guy, nomad, lost in the desert. Doesn't know how he got there.
Can we name him Lewis Melcher?
His name is Lewis Malcher. We don't want to use names that are affiliated with anyone specific.
Purely coincidental.
So Lewis is lost in the desert.
Okay.
He's out of water. He's out of food, and and
he takes a bus to Minor.
Well, see, the reason he's in the desert is because his bus broke down.
On the way to Monterey. Okay.
So there's perfect. This is a perfect setup. So he's walking, and there's nothing. And finally he comes out to this like nomad merchant who's on a camel, has all the bags and everything. He says, "Please, sir, $100 for a bottle of water." The guy says, "I don't have water. All I have is a tie." He's like, well, what am I going to do with a tie? He's like, well, that's all I have. And he's like, oh, forget it. So he walks. So he walks he's walking like hours and hours in the desert. You know, the vultures are circling and you can hear the hawk or whatever they sound. That's probably not like what they sound like.
Sounds like a flying cat to me, but continue.
And he comes up to another merchant. And this guy has 2 camels, even more stuff on the camels. All these, bags and those things with the like Indiana Jones hidden, those things, those basket things.
Okay, all right.
He said, "Please, sir, I'm almost dead. I'm dying. My bus broke down, and I should have taken a left turn to Albuquerque. Instead, I went to Monterey. I'm in the desert. I don't have any water. $200 for a bottle of water." And the merchant's, "You're crazy. I don't have any water. All I have is a tie. Do you want to buy a tie?" And Lewis is like, "Why would I want to buy a tie? That's not going to help me for anything. I don't need a tie." He storms off. He gets all pissed off. So finally, he's crawling this hill. He's like on his hands and knees because he can't go any further. Crests the hill, and he sees this giant oasis. There's water fountains, there's waterfalls, there's a lake, there's everything. There's people, kids frolicking. There, you get just plates full of food, everything. So he rolls himself down the hill, and imagine Lewis rolling down the hill. And he's just about to step in the oasis, and this guard steps up, and he's like, "What do you think you're doing?" He's like, "I need water." He goes, "You can't come in here. You don't have a tie."